The crystal chandelier swayed violently as three masked figures burst through the entrance of Le Ciel Doré, the most exclusive restaurant in Chicago. Sofia Martinez dropped her tray, but her eyes didn't show fear. They showed something else: recognition, calculation, the kind of look that didn't belong to a waitress earning minimum wage. Everyone down, now! 27 guests hit the marble floor, 27, except 2. Sofia remained standing, her hand instinctively moving to her lower back, searching for something that wasn't there anymore. And at table 12, a man with jet black hair and a $15,000 suit simply continued cutting his steak, his dark eyes fixed not on the intruders, but on her. Marcus Bennett had built a tech empire worth $4 billion. He'd negotiated with presidents, crushed competitors, and could read people like algorithms. But this waitress, this woman who'd been serving him Pinot Noir for 3 months, she was a code he couldn't crack until now. I said, "Get down." The lead robber moved toward Sofia, his voice sharp with threat. His hands were shaking. "Amateur hour." Sofia's eyes narrowed just slightly, and Marcus saw it. The micro-expression of someone assessing threat levels, calculating angles, counting exits. That's not a waitress, he thought. That's a predator evaluating prey, please, Sofia said, her voice steady, her accent softening her words. "Don't do this. Take the money and leave. Shut up and—" The robber never finished his sentence. Sofia moved like lightning wrapped in flesh. One moment she was 5 feet away. The next her elbow was in his throat, and he was stumbling backward, gasping for air. The second intruder turned, but she'd already grabbed a wine bottle, pivoting with the grace of a trained dancer and the precision of a soldier, striking it across his temple. 15 seconds. 2 men down. 0 hesitation. The third robber lunged at her, but a crystal decanter exploded against the back of his skull. He crumpled like a discarded napkin. Marcus stood behind him, breathing hard, his hand still extended from the throw. He'd just intervened in a crisis for the first time in his life. For a waitress. For a woman whose real name he was suddenly certain wasn't Sofia Martinez at all. Their eyes met across the chaos. "Who are you?" he whispered. Before she could answer, sirens wailed in the distance. Sofia's face transformed, panic replacing that eerie calm. She was afraid now, not of the robbers, of something worse. "The police, I have to go," she said, backing toward the kitchen. "Wait." Marcus moved to stop her, his hand catching her wrist. The contact sent electricity through both of them, an attraction that had been building for 12 weeks of polite conversation and stolen glances. But this was different. This was real, raw. "Mr. Bennett, please. You don't understand. If they run my prints, if they ask questions—" Her voice cracked, and for the first time he saw genuine fear in those stunning brown eyes. "Everything I've built here, everything I've become, it'll disappear, then let me help you." "Why?" Sofia pulled away, her hand trembling now. The adrenaline was wearing off, reality crashing in. "You don't know me. You don't know what I've done." Marcus stepped closer, his voice dropping to barely a whisper as red and blue lights began painting the restaurant walls. "I know you saved everyone in this room. I know you've been putting yourself through nursing school while working double shifts. I know you take the long way home every night past St. Mary's just to leave flowers on your mother's grave. And I know—" He paused, his hand reaching up to gently touch her face. "I know I've been falling for you since the first night you told me my choice in wine was pretentious." A ghost of a smile crossed her lips. "It was pretentious, Sofia, or whatever your real name is. Let me help you." "You can't help me, Marcus. My past, it's not something money can fix. It's not something anyone can fix." The kitchen doors burst open. Police officers flooded in, their voices sharp with authority, their presence commanding. Sofia's whole body tensed, her eyes darting to the exit. Every muscle screaming, "Run!" But Marcus's hand found hers, steady, grounding, offering something she hadn't felt in 8 years, safety. "Officer!" Marcus called out, his voice carrying the absolute authority of someone used to controlling boardrooms and billion-dollar deals. "These 3 men attempted to rob my restaurant. This woman, my head of security, she neutralized the threat. I'll need to give a complete statement." Sofia's eyes widened. He just lied to the police for her. A man worth billions had just put his reputation on the line for a waitress with a fake name. and a past that could destroy them both. Your head of security? The officer looked skeptical, his eyes scanning Sophia's uniform. The wine stain on her apron, the name tag that read Sophia M. Yes, she works undercover to prevent exactly this type of situation. Check with my legal team, Bennett Industries downtown. Now, I believe these gentlemen need medical attention before we proceed with questioning. As the officers moved to secure the unconscious robbers, Marcus leaned close to Sophia, his breath warm against her ear. We're going to walk out of here together. Then you're going to tell me everything. And then, he pulled back just enough to look into her eyes. Then we're going to figure out how to give you the life you deserve. You don't know what you're asking for, Sophia whispered. But her hand tightened around his. Try me. Outside, the Chicago night wrapped around them like a secret. Marcus's limousine waited at the curb, but neither of them moved toward it. Not yet. The moment felt too fragile, too electric, too impossibly real. I was a federal agent, Sophia finally said, her voice barely audible over the distant sirens. FBI. 8 years ago, I testified against a dangerous criminal organization. My partner didn't survive the attack, my mentor, and they've been searching for me ever since. Marcus's jaw tightened, but he didn't let go of her hand. And Sophia Martinez? Witness protection. New identity, new life, new everything. She laughed bitterly. Except I can't seem to shake who I really am. Tonight, prove that. What's your real name? She looked up at him, tears glistening in those fierce brown eyes. Isabella. Isabella Reyes. Isabella, Marcus repeated, testing the name on his tongue like a prayer. It suits you better. Isabella Reyes is gone, she said, pulling away, wrapping her arms around herself like armor. I buried her the same day I buried my mother. Marcus watched this fierce woman, who could take down 3 men but trembled now just saying her own name. Your mother? Heart attack. The stress consumed her. Isabella's voice cracked. The doctors said natural causes, but I know better. He guided her down the street, away from the flashing lights. So you became Sophia Martinez. 3rd time, actually, she laughed without humor. First identity lasted 6 months. Second one, 14 months. 1 photograph on social media and I had to disappear. She stopped, facing him. That's my life, Marcus. Every few years, everything vanishes. Not this time. You don't understand, then make me understand. Marcus interrupted, cupping her cheek. I've spent 3 months watching you. Comforting scared children, studying medical textbooks during breaks. I've fallen completely in love with someone I didn't even fully know. His thumb brushed away a tear. Make me understand because I'm not walking away. This brilliant man was choosing her. Her chaos. Her danger. The Morales organization runs half the operations on the East Coast, Isabella began. My testimony put Miguel Morales behind bars. But his brother, Andres, he took over, and he swore he'd find me. She met his gaze. He has resources everywhere. One mistake and you'll have me, Marcus said firmly. My resources, my connections, my protection. You threw a decanter at a man's head tonight, but I have people who are trained, and $4 billion with no intention of letting you disappear again. He stepped closer. I can help you end this. Marcus, you can't I? His voice carried that boardroom authority. I have connections in the Justice Department. Former FBI on my security team. The best lawyers money can buy. He took her hands. You've been running alone. What if you didn't have to be? The offer hung between them like a lifeline. Why? She whispered. Why would you risk everything? Marcus pulled her closer, his forehead against hers. Because you've become the only real thing in my life. Every Wednesday at 8 p.m., when you brought me that wine and rolled your eyes. It was the only hour I looked forward to. His voice dropped. I saw someone who's been protecting others her whole life. Someone who deserves to finally be protected herself. No one had ever seen her like this, just her. I'm scared, she admitted. Good. That means you're smart. But scared doesn't mean alone. Not anymore. Isabella looked at this man who'd offered her what she'd never dared to want. A future, okay, she breathed. Help me end this. Marcus's smile was brilliant. First thing tomorrow, we meet with my head of security. Tomorrow? Isabella interrupted. If someone saw me tonight, Then tonight you stay with me, Marcus said simply. My penthouse has security that rivals the Pentagon. You'll be safe. I can't, Isabella. Her real name on his lips sent shivers down her spine. Stop arguing and let someone take care of you. She looked into those dark eyes and saw what she hadn't seen in 8 years. Safety, trust, home. Okay, she whispered. The penthouse occupied the entire 42nd floor of the Bennett Tower, and Isabella's breath caught as the private elevator doors opened. Floor-to-ceiling windows revealed Chicago spread out like a galaxy of lights, the city pulsing with life far below. This is, she started, then stopped. What could she say? That it was beautiful? That felt inadequate. That it was overwhelming? That felt too vulnerable. Home, Marcus finished softly, reading her hesitation. He placed his hand on the small of her back, guiding her inside. Or it will be for as long as you need it. The space was exactly what she'd expected from a billionaire, and nothing like it at all. Yes, there was expensive art and designer furniture, but there were also stacks of books on every surface, a half-finished chess game on the coffee table, and a pair of running shoes kicked off by the door. It was lived in, real. The guest room is down that hall, Marcus said, pointing. But first, he moved to a sleek panel on the wall, pressing his palm against it. A screen lit up, showing multiple camera feeds. Full security system, biometric access only. The elevator won't move without authorization, and every entrance is monitored 24/7. Isabella watched the feeds, her training automatically cataloging exits, blind spots, vulnerabilities. Old habits. You really do have Pentagon-level security. I've made a lot of competitors very unhappy over the years. Marcus smiled slightly. Turns out, being prepared for corporate espionage works well for other threats too. She turned to face him, and suddenly the space between them felt charged, electric. They'd been running on adrenaline for the past hour, but now it was just them. Alone. Safe. Isabella gestured vaguely toward the guest room. It's been a long night. Wait, Marcus caught her hand. There's something I need to know. Her heart hammered. What? Tonight at the restaurant? That wasn't the first time you've thought about running from me, was it? The question hit her like a physical blow. She'd been so careful, so controlled. How did you? 3 weeks ago, you didn't show up for your Wednesday shift, Marcus said quietly. I called the restaurant. They said you were sick, but... He stepped closer. I drove by your apartment that night. Your lights were off. Your car was gone. And I thought you'd disappeared. Isabella's throat tightened. He was right. 3 weeks ago, she'd packed everything, ready to vanish into another identity. She'd made it to the highway before turning back. Why did you come back? Marcus asked. Because... She looked away, unable to meet his eyes. Because for the first time in 8 years, running felt like losing something instead of saving myself. His hand cupped her face, gently turning her back to him. Then stop running, Isabella, please. The kiss happened like gravity. Inevitable, necessary, earth-shattering. His lips were soft but demanding, and she melted into him, her hands fisting in his expensive shirt. 8 years of loneliness, of fear, of being untouchable. It all shattered in that moment. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Marcus rested his forehead against hers. I've wanted to do that since the first night you laughed at my wine choice. It really was pretentious, she whispered, smiling despite everything. I know. He smiled back. I ordered it because you were working that section, and I wanted an excuse for you to come to my table. Marcus Bennett, tech billionaire, using bad wine choices to flirt with waitresses. Just one waitress. His thumb traced her cheekbone. The one who looked at me like I was a person, not a bank account. The one who actually argued with me about politics and told me when I was wrong. The one who... He paused. The one who made me remember what it felt like to want something money couldn't buy. Isabella's eyes filled with tears. I'm going to ruin your life. No, Marcus said firmly. You're going to save it. Because this half-life I've been living, board meetings and business deals and coming home to an empty penthouse, that's not living, Isabella. That's just existing. He kissed her forehead. You make me want to actually live. A chime echoed through the penthouse and both of them tensed. Marcus checked his phone, then relaxed. My head of security. He's downstairs. Texted him from the car. At midnight? He's former Secret Service. He's used to worse hours. Marcus squeezed her hand. I know you're exhausted, but I need you to meet him tonight. Tell him everything. The more information he has, the better he can protect you. Isabella nodded, her training warring with her emotions. Trust didn't come easy. It never had. But looking at Marcus, at this man who'd upended his entire world for her in the span of an hour, maybe it was time to try. Okay, she said. But Marcus, if this goes wrong, if they find me, if things get dangerous, she met his eyes. Promise me you'll walk away. Promise me you won't sacrifice everything for— No! His voice was absolute, final. I won't promise that. I won't walk away, I won't sacrifice you, and I won't let them take you. He pulled her close. We end this together, Isabella. However long it takes. Whatever it costs. You're insane, she whispered against his chest. Probably. She felt him smile. But I'm your kind of insane now. James Crawford looked exactly like what he was. A man trained to stop threats before they materialized. 50 years old, silver hair cut military short, eyes that missed nothing. He sat across from Isabella in Marcus's living room, a tablet in his hands, his expression unreadable. FBI for 6 years, he said, scrolling through information she hadn't shared yet. Decorated agent. 3 commendations. Then you testified against the Morales organization and vanished. He looked up. The question is, why surface now? Why take down those men at the restaurant? Instinct, Isabella said simply. I saw people in danger and I reacted. Instinct, James's eyes narrowed. Or 8 years of hiding made you careless. Marcus tensed beside her, but Isabella placed a hand on his arm. He's right to question me. I made a mistake tonight. I should have stayed down, played the scared waitress. Instead, I revealed training that a normal person wouldn't have. So what changed? James pressed. What made you break cover after maintaining it successfully for years? Isabella glanced at Marcus, then back to James. Him. I had something worth protecting besides myself. The admission hung in the air. James studied them both, then nodded slowly. At least you're honest. He turned to Marcus. You understand what you're involving yourself in? The Morales organization has resources across 15 states. They've been searching for her for 8 years. Then it's time we stop playing defense, Marcus said firmly. What do we need to end this? James leaned back. Evidence. The kind that puts Andres Morales away permanently. Without leadership, the organization fractures. He looked at Isabella. Your original testimony targeted Miguel. You must have seen or heard things about Andres too. I did, Isabella admitted. But it wasn't enough for prosecution back then. He was careful. Always in the background. People get careless over time, especially when they feel untouchable. James pulled up photos on his tablet. Andres has expanded operations. Gotten bolder. That means mistakes. Paper trails, witnesses. He met her eyes. And it means he's more dangerous than ever. Isabella's stomach tightened. You think he's close to finding me? I think tonight's incident will generate news coverage. Social media posts. Surveillance footage from nearby buildings. James's expression softened slightly. I think you have maybe 72 hours before someone connects Sofia Martinez to Isabella Reyes. 72 hours, Marcus repeated. Then what? Then we move her somewhere secure while I work with federal contacts to build a case against Andres. James looked at Isabella. But I need your cooperation. Everything you remember. Everyone you knew. Every detail, no matter how small. I'll tell you everything, Isabella said. But I want something in return. You're not exactly in a position to negotiate. I want to help build the case, she interrupted. I'm not hiding in some safe house while other people risk themselves. I was an agent. A good one. Let me do my job. James looked at Marcus, who nodded. She's right. We use every advantage we have. Fine, James said after a long moment. But you follow my protocols exactly. One deviation, one impulsive move, and you're out. Agreed. James stood, gathering his tablet. Get some rest. Tomorrow we start working. And Miss Reyes? He paused at the door. Welcome back to the fight. After he left, Isabella sagged against the couch, exhaustion finally hitting her. Marcus pulled her close and she let herself sink into his warmth. 72 hours. she whispered. Then we make them count, Marcus said, kissing the top of her head. Together. She looked up at him, this impossible man who'd become her anchor. Thank you. For all of this. Thank me when it's over, he smiled. When you're free and we can have a normal date. Maybe somewhere that doesn't end in chaos? Isabella laughed softly. I don't think normal is in our future. Good, Marcus said, his eyes warm. Normal is overrated anyway. Morning light filtered through the penthouse windows, painting Chicago gold and amber. Isabella woke on the couch, a cashmere blanket draped over her, and the smell of fresh coffee filling the air. Marcus stood in the kitchen, still wearing last night's dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up, his hair slightly disheveled. He looked human, real. Not the polished billionaire from the restaurant, but someone who'd stayed up all night keeping watch while she slept. You didn't have to stay, Isabella said softly, sitting up. I know. He poured 2 cups of coffee, bringing one to her. But I wanted to. Their fingers brushed as she took the cup, and that electricity sparked again. In the morning light, everything felt different, more real, more terrifying. I've been thinking, Marcus said, settling beside her, about what James said. 72 hours. Me too. Isabella sipped the coffee, perfect as always. We need to be smart, methodical. Actually, Marcus pulled out his phone, showing her a series of messages. I've been making calls. I have a contact at the Justice Department, someone who owes me several favors. He's willing to reopen the investigation into Andres Morales if we can provide new evidence. Isabella's heart raced. Marcus, that's incredible. But what kind of evidence are we talking about? Financial records primarily. Andres has been expanding his operations, which means moving money. Large amounts of money. Marcus scrolled through more messages. My tech team. They're very good at finding patterns, digital footprints, things that traditional investigations might. Miss May, you're talking about tracking him through his finances. I'm talking about building an airtight case that puts him away for decades. Marcus met her eyes. But I need you to help me understand his network. The people he trusted back then, the places he operated, anything that might give us a starting point. Isabella set down her coffee, her mind already racing through memories she'd tried to bury. His operations were always compartmentalized. Different people handling different aspects, but there was one person, his accountant, a woman named Patricia Vega. Accountant, Marcus repeated, leaning forward. That's perfect. Accountants know everything. Patricia was smart, careful. She never appeared in any official capacity, but I saw her twice at meetings with Miguel. Isabella closed her eyes, remembering. She had this leather portfolio, dark red. She never let it out of her sight. If she's still working for Andres, she's the key. Marcus was already texting. James can track her down. Find out where she is now, who she's connected to. It won't be that simple, Isabella warned. Patricia isn't someone who makes mistakes. If she survived this long in that organization, she's protected. Then we make her an offer she can't refuse. Marcus's smile was sharp, calculating. The billionaire negotiator emerging. Everyone has a price, Isabella. Pressure point. Something they want more than loyalty. She studied him, seeing the brilliant strategist beneath the concerned lover. You've done this before. Convinced people to flip. Business is war by other means, Marcus said. I've negotiated with people who'd rather see me fail than succeed. I've turned enemies into allies. He took her hand. And I've never had more motivation than I do right now. A knock at the door interrupted them. James entered, looking like he'd actually slept despite the late night. Good, you're both awake. We have a situation. Isabella's stomach dropped. They found me. Not yet, James said quickly. But the restaurant incident made the local news. 3 suspects in custody. Unnamed civilian helped subdue them. Nothing identifying you specifically. Yet, Isabella repeated, which is why we're accelerating the timeline. James opened his tablet, showing them surveillance photos. Patricia Vega, currently living in Miami under the name Patricia Valdez, works as a consultant for several import-export companies. Import-export, Marcus said dryly. Classic cover. She's scheduled to attend a charity gala tomorrow night. James continued. High-profile event. Public venue. Perfect opportunity for an approach, Isabella shook her head. She'll recognize me immediately. Not if you're not Isabella Reyes or Sofia Martinez. James pulled up another image. A woman with platinum blonde hair, dramatic makeup, designer clothes. Meet Isabelle Rousseau, French art dealer and Marcus Bennett's latest acquisition consultant. You want me to go undercover, Isabella said slowly. At a charity gala. With Patricia Vega. I want you to do what you do best, James corrected. Read people. Assess threats. And help Marcus get close enough to Patricia to make an offer. Marcus squeezed her hand. We do this together. I approach her as a potential business partner. You provide the insight. James provides backup security. He looked at Isabella. But only if you're comfortable. We can find another way. She looked at the photo of Patricia Vega, the woman who held the keys to Andres Morales' empire, the woman who could end 8 years of running. No, Isabella said firmly. This is our best shot. We take it. Then we have less than 36 hours to prepare, James said. New identity documents, background story, proper coverage for the event. He looked at Isabella. And you need to become someone else entirely. Can you do that? Isabella thought about 8 years of being someone else. 8 years of hiding, pretending, surviving. I've been doing it my whole life, she said. One more identity won't break me. Marcus pulled her close. Except this time you're not alone. She leaned into him, drawing strength from his presence. This time, she agreed softly, I'm not alone. Outside, the city woke to another ordinary day. But for Isabella, Marcus, and James, the clock was ticking. 72 hours had just become 36. And everything depended on what happened next. The transformation took hours. A team of stylists invaded Marcus's penthouse, turning Isabella into Isabelle Rousseau. Platinum blonde wig styled in elegant waves, makeup that changed the shape of her face, colored contacts turning her brown eyes into striking green. I don't recognize myself, Isabella murmured, staring at her reflection. Marcus appeared behind her in the mirror, devastating in his tailored tuxedo. Good, that's the point. His hands rested on her shoulders. But I'd recognize you anywhere. Then Patricia will too. Patricia hasn't seen you in 8 years. She's never seen you like this. He turned her to face him. Tonight, you're Isabelle. Confident, sophisticated, untouchable. James entered with communication equipment. Earpiece for both of you. I'll be monitoring from outside. Any sign of trouble, you extract immediately. An hour later, they arrived at the Drake Hotel. The red carpet blazed with camera flashes, and Isabella's heart hammered. Breathe, Marcus whispered. You've faced worse than society photographers. They stepped onto the carpet and cameras exploded. Marcus Bennett rarely attended social events and never with a date. Mr. Bennett, who's your companion? Marcus kept his hand on Isabella's back, guiding her through the chaos. No comments tonight, just here to support the Children's Hospital. Inside, the ballroom was breathtaking. Crystal chandeliers, champagne fountains, Chicago's elite mingling in designer clothes. And there near the bar was Patricia Vega. She looked exactly as Isabella remembered. Elegant, composed, watchful, dark hair streaked with silver now, wearing glasses. But those calculating eyes hadn't changed. Target acquired. James's voice crackled in their earpieces. She's alone for the moment. Marcus squeezed Isabella's hand once, then released it. Showtime. Isabella watched him approach Patricia with absolute confidence. Within seconds, they were talking. Patricia's expression shifting from polite interest to genuine engagement. He's good, James observed. He's brilliant, Isabella corrected softly. Then she saw him, a man across the room, watching Marcus and Patricia with too much interest. Expensive suit but uncomfortable in it. Hand kept moving to his hip, checking for something that wasn't there. Security. And not hotel security. James, Isabella said quietly, her voice steady despite her racing pulse. 11 o'clock, gray suit. He's carrying something. I see him, a pause. Running facial recognition now. Stay calm, but Isabella's training was screaming danger. The man was moving closer to Marcus, his hand reaching into his jacket. Isabella moved without thinking. Years of training overrode fear as she glided across the ballroom, intercepting the man in gray before he reached Marcus. "Excuse me," she said in perfect French-accented English, deliberately stepping into his path. "I'm terribly lost. Could you point me toward the powder room?" The man stopped, irritation flashing across his face. Up close, Isabella could see the telltale bulge under his jacket, the way his eyes kept darting toward Marcus and Patricia. "I don't work here. Lady," he muttered, trying to move around her. Isabella stumbled slightly, her champagne glass tilting dangerously toward his expensive suit. He jumped back instinctively. "Oh mon Dieu, I'm so clumsy." She steadied herself, using the moment to position herself between him and Marcus. "These heels, you know? Absolutely treacherous. Isabella, what are you doing?" James's voice crackled urgently in her earpiece. Through her peripheral vision, she saw Marcus shake hands with Patricia, sealing some kind of agreement. He was wrapping up the conversation, about to turn away. "I've got facial recognition," James said. "That's Victor Ruiz, former security for the Morales organization. He's not supposed to be in Chicago." Isabella's blood ran cold, but she kept her smile perfectly in place. "You look so familiar. Have we met before? Perhaps in Paris, Monaco?" Victor's eyes narrowed, studying her face with uncomfortable intensity. "I don't think so. I never forget a face," Isabella pressed, buying time. "Are you in the art world? Investment banking?" "Security," Victor said shortly. Then his hand moved again toward his jacket. Isabella's muscles tensed, ready to react, when a hand landed firmly on Victor's shoulder. "Victor Ruiz," a new voice said smoothly. "Chicago PD. We need to have a conversation about your expired visa." Two plainclothes officers flanked Victor, their badges discreetly visible. "James's backup," Isabella realized with relief. "This is harassment," Victor protested. "I haven't done anything." "Then you won't mind answering some questions downtown." The officer's smile was professionally pleasant and absolutely inflexible. "This way, please." As they escorted Victor away, Marcus appeared at Isabella's side, his hand sliding around her waist. "That was quick thinking," he murmured. "Too quick," Isabella whispered back. "If Victor's here, it means they're looking. They might not know exactly where I am, but they're searching. Then we accelerate the plan." Marcus nodded toward Patricia, who was watching them with curious interest. "She wants to meet you. I told her you're consulting on a European expansion project." Isabella's heart raced. "Marcus, that's brilliant improvisation?" He smiled. "I learned from the best." They approached Patricia together, and Isabella felt the weight of those calculating eyes assessing every detail. "Isabelle Rousseau," Marcus said smoothly. "Meet Patricia Valdez, one of Miami's most respected business consultants." "Charmed," Patricia said, her accent thick with Cuban influence. She extended a perfectly manicured hand. "Marcus tells me you specialize in European markets." "French connections primarily," Isabella replied, her accent flawless. "Though I've worked extensively throughout the continent." Patricia's eyes flickered with something. Recognition? Suspicion. Isabella couldn't tell. "You have excellent taste," Patricia said, gesturing to Isabella's gown. "That's an original Marchesa, isn't it?" "You have a good eye," Isabella smiled. "Fashion and finance aren't so different, really. Both require understanding what people truly value beneath the surface." "How philosophical." Patricia sipped her champagne. "Tell me, Isabel, what brings you to Chicago? Surely the European markets keep you busy enough." It was a test. Isabella could feel it. Patricia was probing, searching for inconsistencies. "Marcus brings me to Chicago," Isabella said, allowing warmth to enter her voice as she looked at him. "Sometimes the best investments aren't in markets or portfolios. Sometimes they're in people." Marcus's hand tightened on her waist, the gesture both protective and possessive. Isabel has a unique perspective on risk assessment. She understands that the most valuable assets are often the ones others overlook. "Risk assessment," Patricia repeated thoughtfully. "How fascinating. In my experience, the greatest risks come from the past. Things we think are buried have a way of resurfacing." The statement hung in the air like a blade. Was Patricia warning them, testing them, or simply making conversation? "The past only has power if we let it," Isabella said quietly. "Smart people learn from history. They don't let it define their future." Something shifted in Patricia's expression. Respect, maybe. Or understanding. I like you, Isabel, Patricia said finally. You're not like most of the vapid socialites here. She pulled a business card from her clutch. Call me. I'd like to discuss this European expansion further, privately. As Patricia walked away, Isabella exhaled slowly. She knows something, or suspects something, Marcus corrected. But she gave you her card. That's progress. Progress toward what? Isabella watched Patricia disappear into the crowd. She's too smart, Marcus. She figures out who I really am. Then we make our move first. Marcus turned her to face him, his dark eyes intense. Tomorrow you call her. Set up a meeting, and we offer her something she can't refuse. What could we possibly offer that's worth betraying the Morales organization? Marcus smiled, and it was sharp enough to cut. Freedom, immunity, and enough money to disappear into any life she wants. He leaned closer, his breath warm against her ear. Everyone has a price, Isabella. We just need to find hers, and if we're wrong, if she's more loyal than we think, then we adapt. His lips brushed her temple. But I don't think we're wrong. I saw how she looked at you when you talked about the past not defining the future. That wasn't the look of someone content with their choices. The orchestra began playing. Couples drifting toward the dance floor. Dance with me, Marcus said suddenly. Marcus, we should look like a couple enjoying a charity gala, he finished. Not two people plotting in the corner. He was right. Isabella let him lead her onto the floor, his hand firm on her waist, their bodies moving in perfect synchronization. We make a good team, Marcus murmured. A crazy team, Isabella corrected. A possibly reckless team, but a team nonetheless. He spun her gently, pulling her back against him. And for the record, I meant what I said to Patricia. You're the best investment I've ever made. Isabella's heart swelled. Despite the danger, despite the uncertainty, despite everything, she felt something she hadn't felt in 8 years. Hope. The next morning, Isabella stared at Patricia's business card. One phone call could end 8 years of running. Or end her life entirely. You don't have to do this, Marcus said from across his desk. Yes, I do. Isabella picked up her phone. This is our only shot. James listened on speaker as the line rang. Patricia Valdez. Ms. Valdez, this is Isabel Rousseau. We met last night. I wasn't sure you'd call. I'm interested in discussing your European expansion. Isabella kept her voice steady. Lunch today? A pause. Noon. Sienna on Lakeshore Drive. Come alone. The line went dead. She wants me alone, Isabella said. It's an opportunity, James corrected. I'll have people outside. You'll be wired. Isabella looked at Marcus. You can't be there. If she sees you, she'll know. Marcus's jaw tightened. I don't like you walking into this alone. This is what I'm trained for. Her hands framed his face. Now you're mine, he said simply. And I protect what's mine. Then trust me to come back to you. She kissed him softly. 3 hours later, Isabella sat across from Patricia in Sienna's private dining room. I suspect you're not interested in food, Patricia said. No, I'm interested in what you really do. Patricia's sharp eyes locked onto Isabella's. And what do you think I do? Manage financial operations for people who prefer to stay invisible. You're brilliant at it, and tired, Isabella leaned forward, of looking over your shoulder, of being excellent at a job that will never let you be free. You want out. Silence stretched between them. Who are you, really? Patricia asked. Someone who understands being trapped by the past. Isabella met her gaze. Someone offering you a way out. Patricia laughed bitterly. The people I work for don't accept resignations. What if you helped put them away? Isabella pulled out a document. Full immunity. Witness protection. New identity. $10 million. Patricia stared at the paper. This is impossible. This is freedom. All we need is evidence. Financial records. Everything about Andres Morales' operations. Patricia's hand trembled. If I do this, there's no going back. No, Isabella agreed. But there's finally a way forward. Patricia's fingers traced the edge of the immunity document, her eyes scanning every word with the precision of someone who'd spent decades reading contracts designed to trap people. This is legitimate, she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. Justice Department letterhead. Federal prosecutor's signature? She looked up at Isabella. Who are you working with? People who want Andres Morales behind bars as much as you want to be free. Isabella leaned back, giving Patricia space to process. People with the resources and authority to make this happen. And what makes you think I have anything valuable enough to trade for this? Freedom. Patricia's smile was sad. I'm just an accountant. You're the person who knows where every dollar flows. Every offshore account, every shell company, every payment made to every corrupt official who looks the other way. Isabella's voice was steady. You're not just an accountant, Patricia. You're the one person who can bring down the entire organization. Patricia was quiet for a long moment, her fingers still touching the document like it might disappear. I have a daughter, she said suddenly. She's 23, lives in California, studies marine biology. She thinks I work for an import company, helping businesses navigate international regulations. Isabella's chest tightened. She doesn't know. How could I tell her? Patricia's eyes glistened. How do I explain that her college tuition, her apartment, her entire life? It's all paid for with money from… She stopped, unable to finish the sentence. She's good, pure, everything I'm not. Everything you were forced to become, Isabella corrected gently. There's a difference, is there? Patricia laughed bitterly. I made choices, Isabel, bad ones. I told myself it was for her future, but really, I was just too afraid to leave, too comfortable with the money, too weak to risk everything for what was right. You're not weak. Isabella reached across the table, her hand covering Patricia's. Weak people don't survive 2 decades in that world. Weak people don't keep their daughters safe and innocent while living in darkness. You're not weak, Patricia. You're exhausted, and you deserve rest. A tear slid down Patricia's cheek and she quickly wiped it away. If I do this, if I testify, Andres will come for my daughter. He'll use her to get to me. Not if we move her first, Isabella said. Today, right now, we have people who can relocate her to a secure location before Andres even knows you've flipped. She'll be protected, Patricia. I promise you. Promises, Patricia whispered. I've heard so many promises over the years. They all turn to ash eventually. Not this one. Isabella pulled out her phone, showing Patricia a photo. This is Marcus Bennett, tech billionaire. He's the one funding this operation. He has former Secret Service, former FBI, resources that rival small countries, and he's personally invested in keeping you and your daughter safe. Patricia studied the photo, recognition flickering in her eyes. The man from last night. The one you were with? Yes. You're in love with him. It wasn't a question. Isabella hesitated, then nodded. Yes. And he's doing all this for you? He's doing this because it's right. Because Andres Morales has destroyed too many lives. Because… Isabella met Patricia's gaze. Because sometimes people with power actually use it for good. Patricia was quiet, her mind clearly racing through scenarios, calculating risks, weighing options. Finally, she reached into her purse and pulled out a small USB drive. I've been keeping insurance for years, she said, placing it on the table. Copies of every major transaction for the past decade. Offshore accounts, wire transfers, names of officials on the payroll, everything. Her hand trembled. I told myself it was for protection, but really, I think part of me always knew this day would come. Isabella's heart raced as she looked at the drive. This was it, the evidence they needed, the key to ending everything. There's more, Patricia continued. Andres is planning something big, a massive expansion into the West Coast. He's meeting with suppliers next week in Los Angeles. If you move against him now, you can catch him with evidence in the act. When exactly? Isabella asked. Thursday, Pacific Palisades. A private estate. Patricia pulled out her phone, showing Isabella an address. I was supposed to be there to handle the financial arrangements. You'll still be there, Isabella said. But you'll be wearing a wire. You'll have federal agents positioned everywhere. Patricia closed her eyes, a shudder running through her body. This is really happening. I'm really doing this. You're really choosing freedom, Isabella corrected. For yourself. For your daughter. For everyone Andres would have hurt in the future. What happens now? Now we call my people. They'll move your daughter within the hour. You'll go home, pack only what matters. Photos, documents, anything with sentimental value. Tomorrow morning, you disappear into protective custody. Isabella squeezed Patricia's hand. And you start becoming whoever you want to be next. Patricia looked at the immunity document, the USB drive, and finally at Isabella. Why are you really doing this? And don't tell me it's just about justice. There's something personal here. Isabella took a breath. 8 years ago, I was a federal agent. I testified against Miguel Morales. I've been running ever since, hiding, surviving, never truly living. She met Patricia's eyes. I'm tired too, Patricia. Tired of being afraid. Tired of looking over my shoulder. Tired of letting the past control my future. This is how we both get free. Understanding dawned in Patricia's expression. You're Isabella Reyes. I was, Isabella said softly. Now I'm just someone trying to reclaim her life. Patricia nodded slowly, then picked up the immunity document and signed it with a steady hand. Then let's reclaim both our lives. Isabella felt something break open in her chest. Hope, relief, the first real breath she'd taken in 8 years. She pulled out her phone, texting James a simple message. We have her. We have everything. Marcus was waiting when Isabella returned to the penthouse, pulling her into his arms the moment the elevator doors opened. I heard everything through the wire, he said. You were incredible. Patricia was incredible, Isabella corrected. She's giving us everything, Marcus. This ends in less than a week. James appeared from the office. I've sent the USB contents to Justice Department. They're fast-tracking warrants. Patricia's daughter is being relocated, and Andres Morales has no idea. Isabella sank onto the couch. It's really over. Almost over, Marcus said, taking her hand. Thursday still has to go perfectly. But yes, it's almost over. And then what? Isabella asked. What happens when I'm not running anymore? Then you figure out who you want to be, Marcus said softly. Without fear. Without hiding. He pulled out architectural plans. There's a community health center on the south side. I'm buying it. Renovating it. And I need a director with medical training and street smarts. Tears blurred her vision. Marcus, you said you wanted to save lives. This is how. He knelt before her. You can take this job or not. Stay in Chicago or not. Be with me or not. But whatever you choose, I'll support you. Because I love you, Isabella. I love you too, she whispered. He kissed her gently. Thursday. We finish this, and then we start living. Thursday arrived with California sunshine. Isabella wore a designer suit and a sophisticated wire. Patricia looked calm despite everything. The Pacific Palisades estate was stunning. Andres Morales greeted them warmly, never suspecting betrayal. For 3 intense hours, Andres detailed his entire operation while Patricia guided the conversation perfectly, getting everything on record. When federal agents arrived, Isabella restrained Andres with practiced moves. Isabella Reyes, he said, recognition dawning. I should have known. You should have, she agreed. Isabella called Marcus. It's over. Come home, he replied. To Chicago, to me. To whatever life you want. I'm already on my way. 3 months later, the community health center opened with Isabella Reyes as director. She stood at the ceremony, her real name on the plaque, Marcus beside her. Free, finally, completely free, and ready to live. Hey, everyone. Before you go, I need to hear from you. What did you think of Isabella and Marcus's story? Did you love the twist? Were you on the edge of your seat? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one. And if you enjoyed this story and want more incredible content like this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you never miss a story. Hit that like button, it really helps the channel grow. Turn on the notification bell so you're first to know when new stories drop. Comment below with your favorite moment from the story. Your support means the world to me, and it's what keeps these stories coming. Thank you for being part of this amazing community. See you in the next story.